program, and or a high school student that is 1 or years older or more than the expected age for their grade in which the student is enrolled. In addition, for the purpose of this RFA, underserved youth shall include any DCPS student or public charter student who is identified as economically disadvantaged by eligibility for free and reduced price meals, has a disability as demonstrated by an individual education plan, is an English learner, or is a member of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, intersex, or queer questioning asexual population. And lastly, residing in wards 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So those, you will have the opportunity on your application to indicate what percentage of youth within each of those categories that your organization plans to serve. Now, if you are, and you will receive priority points based on those percentages. I want to be very clear that we will be, the data for the students being served will be ran against OSSE and DCPS demographics so that we are able to identify which students do meet each of these categories. So if you're indicating that you're serving 75 to 100% homeless youth, you need to really be targeting homeless youth and have, plans in place with various other community organizations, et cetera, to be able to serve that population, as that is going to be a part of the compliancy for this grant, is to making sure that you serve within a positive or negative 10% of the targeted populations that you serve. The first indicator for the percentages served is 1 to 25%. If to be safe, that's where any group of students is probably going to fall within when you look comparatively to the percentage of youth within each of these categories across the district. So safely, you can assume that you're going to serve between 1 and 25% English learners. However, if you're going to serve 75 to 100% English learners, again, that would be, you would need to be strategic in your planning and outreach to serve those specific students. Programming may occur at any accessible and safe location in the district or outside of the district, as long as you're only serving district youth. So sometimes we have programs that exist right across the border in Tacoma Park, Maryland, but they will transport the kids from DC into the program because that's just the best place for their programming, and the youth reside across the border. So you can have a program outside of the district boundaries, but you can only use the funding to serve youth that reside within the district. Serving at a DCPS summer school site is an option, but it is not required. Summer Strong grantees have the opportunity, if interested, to provide afternoon programming as part of DCPS 2024 summer school programming for grades K through 5, if you're serving that grade level. These summer school sites will host DCPS-run academic summer programming in the morning, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So partner programs, if you apply and are awarded and would like to serve from 1 to 4, you're able to do so with no fees for building usage at the select schools that DCPS identifies. And we were working to have that list by the time this RFA came out. Unfortunately, the DCPS was still working through some kinks, but there's typically 8 schools that they identify. So you'll want to reach out to Devin Smith. His email is here in this slide, and we'll share this slide with you afterwards. You're going to want to reach out to him, find out what those schools are if you are interested in providing your programming at one of those schools. And then that provides a continuation of services for those families whose children will arrive for summer school during the morning and then attend your program in the afternoon. However, remember that you have to provide 5 minimum hours per day, and this only covers 1 to 4. If you want to then extend your services till 6 o'clock, for example, 1 to 6 to have those 5 hours and a full day for working parents, you will have to cover the additional cost for security fee in the afternoon. And that's between $40 to $53 roughly, and you'll work through that with Devin at DCPS. That's significantly less than if you go to a non-summer school site, because you have to pay that for all hours of the day, and the fee is even more because you have to pay for facility maintenance costs, etc., not just the security. So that's just something we try to align with DCPS to offer you that option. However, you do not have to serve at any DCPS school site. You can serve at a charter school site in partnership with a charter, or in the community yourself. And it says, please, let me see, there's a question. Please confirm that public charter schools are eligible to apply to serve their own students at their own location during the summer. Yes, that is absolutely an option. Charter schools are 501c3, so you are eligible to apply to serve youth during the summer and on site. And of course, you would not have to worry about your facility fees. This is for DCPS that this would be an option, but that is definitely, you're definitely eligible to do that. Okay. All right, let's move on. Eligibility. To be eligible, organizations must have a 501c3 nonprofit status as determined by the IRS for a minimum of 2 years at the time of submission. So you need to be in service for the last 2 years as a 501c3. And again, charter schools fall under that purview as a nonprofit. You must submit 3 designation letters from the Internal Revenue Services. All applicants, is that right? I'm sorry. You have okay, let me clarify. All applicants must be in good standing with the IRS as evidenced by the most recent 2 years of Form 990 filings, and with the district as evidenced by these 3 documents. And that's the DCRA Basic Business or Charitable Solicitation License, one of those. You also need the DCRA Certificate of Good Standing and the Office of Tax and Revenue's Clean Hands Certificate. It has been my experience that those are pretty outside of your business license. Those other 2 documents are, as long as you're in good standing, you can get those within the same day. So you want to make sure you have those because they are required as part of your grant application. Existing OST grantees, other than new MADC grantees, again, are not eligible for Summer Strong grantees, as all current grantees were provided the opportunity to serve year-round. So we are, they're already providing for, given the opportunity to provide for summer. So we just want to be clear that this is for either new MADC grantees or organizations that provide services during the summer only, as funded by our office. You can fund during the school year, but not be funded by our office. Let's see, anything else here that I want to say? If you're new MADC grantee and you have questions about your eligibility, please reach out to us at the email that you will receive, rfa.ost24@dc.gov. It's listed in later slides, but if you have any questions about your eligibility at all, please reach out to us. In addition to the aforementioned documents, applicants are also required to submit a board-approved organization annual budget and a current fiscal year balance sheet, including a profit loss statement. Also, to be eligible, organizations with a revenue of over $250,000 must submit a clean audit conducted within the last 2 years by an independent CPA. So if your organization has a revenue of over $250,000, you must have a clean audit. For small nonprofits or organizations with less than $250,000 revenue, you will only, you do not have to submit an audit. However, if you're requesting over $50,000, this is for, any organization requesting over $50,000, you have to submit a financial review conducted within the last 2 years by an independent CPA. So again, if you're over $250,000, you have to submit an audit. If you're under $250,000 and you're requesting to receive more than $50,000, you must submit a financial review conducted within the last 2 years. Okay, so that's it for the documents. Let's talk about our awards. we're intending to award $1.4 million for Summer Strong grantees and applicants who request up to $100,000 each. That is regardless of your status, whether you're a small nonprofit or not. You can request up to $100,000. Just keep in mind, again, if you're requesting over $50,000 as a small nonprofit, you do have to have your financial documents in place. We do also recommend that applicants use the Wallace Foundation's out-of-school calculator, and we provided that link there. It's set up per city to really help you determine the appropriate cost per hour and per youth of serving youth, specifically here in DC, and it will help you in developing your budgets and making sure that you're asking an appropriate amount for the youth that you are serving, because that will be a part of the review process. Any questions you have, here's that email. Again, any questions should be sent to the rfa.ost24@dc.gov. All questions will be publicly responded to on the published Q&A document, and that is listed on our website as 2024 Summer Strong Grant Q&A. I'm going to take you there in just a second so we can review where all of this is, and you can access the link for the. That's where you can access the link for this Q&A. Okay. Real quick, I want to walk us through the timeline for the 2024 Summer Strong DC RFA. The questions addressed today, along with any sent to the rfa.ost24@dc.gov email, will be posted online, again, at the published Q&A document. And the last date questions will be submitted is Wednesday, January 31. And the last day they will be published is Friday, February 2nd. So grant applications are due no later than 5 p.m. on Wednesday, February 28th, and the awards are scheduled to be announced on March 29th, 2024. So that's your overview of the timeline. Now, 2024 Summer Strong DC grant applications and attachments, as we discussed, the required documents must be submitted through learn24rfa.cityspan.com, and we're going to head there in a moment. Applicants must first create an account in CitySpan. This is different than the CitySpan grant management account. So if you have been a previous year grantee and you've had done data management in CitySpan, this is a different portal. You will need different credentials. You will need to create a different account. So again, you must create a separate RFA account using this link. However, if you have started or submitted an application in a previous FY24 OST RFA, and this only launched FY24. So if you started a grant application anytime this year for another application that you either applied for and weren't awarded, or started to apply for but did not complete, all of the information in there will still be you will be able to access that information and the documents that were previously entered. You won't have to start all over. You can update it, but just know that if you've already started this process for a previous RFA, that information, you will find your organization on there. You can use your already established credentials. And then note, successfully submitted applications will receive a confirmation email from CitySpan upon successful submission. So if you do not receive a confirmation email from CitySpan, you want to make sure you circle back to us right away. So I'm going to jump from here into, I want us to go through CitySpan real quick, and then I'll open it up to any questions that you have. If you have them, you can also drop them in the chat. I know my team's doing a great job of trying to respond to them as we go. Okay, so let me see if I can share here. Give me just a moment. Okay. Mark, can you come off mute and let me know if you're able to see our Learn24 website here?
Yep, it's visible.
Okay, great. So you can see here, this is our website, Learn24. If you go to service providers, and here is this page that's funding opportunities. That's the page we're on. And this is, you probably already visited and seen here the FY24 Summer Strong DC grant request for application. Release date was last January 10th, last week, and applications are due February 28th. So just an overview here, and then here is that link. Application and attachments must be submitted to. Here's also the email address that you must submit all of your questions to. You can see the full RFA here, which will detail everything that is required, as well as the questions that are being asked in CitySpan. So if you want to prepare, for the question to answer the questions in a Word document or some other format before entering them into CitySpan, you can look at this full RFA there, as well as the rubric. We always encourage people to look at the rubric because you want to respond to what we are actually evaluating you on. Each of the questions has the scoring based upon how that demonstrates how we will score folks. So you want to make sure you're really hitting the mark when it comes to how reviewers will be assessing your application. And then down here where it says questions, again, it says you need to submit them through that email so that we can respond publicly to all. And this is where that Q&A link exists right here. So that's where you will go. See if there's, and I will be updating it today with our first set of questions, including those that are received during this training, so that if you have questions, you can circle there and see the response. Okay, so let's go back up to this where we need to submit our application. So I'm going to click this Learn 24 RFA link, and you will see here I have my credentials already established here. But down here at the bottom, it says, don't have an account, create one. So if you have not applied in this year for, or even started the process for a grant through CitySpan, you want to create one. And you're going to click right there, and it's going to bring you to this page where you're going to provide your information, and it's going to set up your account. So, oh, I've already got one. There's my username and password right there. Okay, if you already have a user account, click here. So that's where I'm just going to go back to this page so I can enter the system. You're going to see my side of things. So you're going to see all of the names of organizations that have at least started a grant application FY24. We're going to go down to the sample right here so that I can walk you through some of these steps. The first thing that you're going to do, and it will prompt you in order. You're going to see a little bit more on my end because I've went through the process, but your first landing page when you register is that you're going to have an organization profile. So you'll see here that I've already entered in here the sample organization and just some sample tax ID, website address. It asks you here if you have had a contract with any DC government agencies that has been terminated within the last 5 years. I've indicated no. You're going to put your mission statement, your number of your staff, and your total organization. That's for your, not the program, for your organization and or your charter school budget. Your organization mailing address, and it's going to ask you who your primary contact is. And then it's going to ask you, is this primary contact the signatory? If you indicated no, then it's going to ask you who your signatory is. That's who's going to need to sign off on your grant application and then your grant agreement if awarded. Beyond that, there are just these certificates and certifications and assurances that are pretty standard across any grants, terrorist exclusion, non-discriminatory, staff clearances, and personal assurances. You're just going to do your initials there, and then you're going to hit submit. Up here at the top, you're going to see submit, and you'll see that in a second in another another page. I've already hit submit because I wanted to be able to move to the next level here and you not have to wait for me to enter all this information. But, and you can always hit the back arrow. But once you're done, you're going to hit submit because this is required. Let me say this step is step number 1, and you cannot move forward. In fact, each step of the application requires you to complete the previous step in order to unlock the next page, because there's a lot of coding in between the pages that dictate what questions are asked based upon how you respond in previous, or there's logic that makes sure that what you're saying and the number served in your description matches for the budget, for example. So everything is cross-referenced to make sure there aren't mistakes. It helps, you to have a more solid application. But that is why you have to complete one in order to go to the next. And this organization profile is required in order for you to move forward to see the application. So I'm going to hit back and I'm going to show you one other organization level. You're only going to see organization profile and you're going to see organization uploads. The organization eligibility, again, I can see because it's internal. And that's where we check your eligibility once you have submitted and declared that you can move forward for grant review. If you do not have everything needed for eligibility, we will provide you 48 hours to provide it. So make sure that you are paying attention right after the applications close to your emails, because we'll reach out to you and say, hey, we're missing this document or whatever. And you'll have 48 hours to upload it. But that is the eligibility section. You will not see it on your screen, but you will see this organization uploads. And this is where you upload each of those documents that we said were required. These are your financial documents here. And if you click on this I, it tells you right there what it is. If requesting over 50,000, you will need an audit or a financial review depending on your organization's revenues. So again, these little I's here help you to know what it is that you're uploading. This is where some folks mess up. It's 2 years are required of that 990. So you want to make sure you're uploading two. You're going to upload one, then add a form and upload another one. Your IRS determination and your 3 documents there of good standing with the district. Now, you can hit save at any point over here to the side, no matter where you are, or save up here. But this is that submit button that you're going to see at the top of the screen. So once you hit submit, it locks it. It'll then say unlock if you want to unlock. But organization profiles cannot be unlocked. That first one we looked at. So once you submit it, you could contact us if you need to make any changes, but that really locks you in as an organization, whether you're a small nonprofit, all of that is locked in from that organization profile. So these are the 2 areas that you're going to complete, and then it's going to populate your grant application. And in our organization profile, I said my program name was Sample Summer Strong Program. So that's why it's listed here. You're going to then go in. This is where your proposal is. So again, organization, profile, and documents are uploaded, and then it unlocks your narrative here. So you can go in and you can see, and any of these you can unlock once you've submitted them and make edits, okay? So don't worry as much here, but you're going to have to complete each one to be able to move on and see the other ones. See the submit button up here? And you're going to go through. I have Sample Summer Strong Program. You're just going to click here. These drop downs only give you the Summer Strong and the grant period of summer. We've put in a program budget here. We've said our total program budget is 120, but we're only asking for 85. So we have other funds that are cover the rest. And then you want to put in an application point of contact. This may be the person that's filling out the grant, but not the overall grant point of contact. It's the application point of contact. You may have a grant writer, right? And we're going to reach out to you as well when trying to clarify eligibility. So it could be the same person, but just want you to be clear that this is the person filling out the application that can answer any questions needed if we have issues with eligibility checks. Then you're going to go through and you can see here, these are the questions. They are the same as listed in the full RFA. And I've just put, test here because I want to move us through this process. You're going to go through your organization history, leadership, and staff experience, your need for and justification for a program. This is where you indicate who the underserved populations, at-risk and underserved populations to be served. We've said here, we will serve 25 to 49% economically disadvantaged. Because we clicked yes, it allowed us to put the percentage, and that's just a drop down there. And then we've said, no, we're not serving any of the other populations. So that just moves us through that. The program design services, you're going to answer there. And then your measurable objectives, you're going to indicate youth involvement. This is around recruitment and retention, and then making connections within the community. These are areas that our out of school time commission holds up as important as it is essential to have true connection to the communities that we are serving and the families as well of the youth. So those are those last questions here. And then when I'm done, I'm going to show you here. I could hit save as I go, but I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. You can do it at the top or the bottom. When you hit submit, I'm going to go, you see how it shows submitted. Now let me go back in there and show you. This is that unlock button. You can hit unlock. Are you sure you want to unlock? Yeah, I want to unlock. I need to make a change. So then I can go down here and add something I left out, hit save, come back down, check it out, change my, oh, we're actually going to serve more of these youth. Okay, save. And then scroll on down to the bottom. Everything's good. Click submit. And then it's going to be in submitted stage. Then you're going to be able to move to program sites. And we're going to walk through these real quick. I put here tests anywhere, you know, the address, type of facility, whether it's a DCPS, charter school, at a library, wherever you're providing services, the targeted wards to be served. So if you're, you know, this can be all 8. You can be a district wide, or you can be a specific targeted ward 1 in Adams Morgan is the neighborhood. And we're going to serve Apple Tree Learning at Columbia Heights. This is just, again, a sample. We've put here that the total number of unduplicated youth to be served is 16 and grades K through 2. Now, this is where I want you to pay attention, because this is where you'll get an error. We put Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to change that to Monday through Thursday, okay? Now, when you come up here, if you put that your program was starting on Sunday, it's going to give you an error, and you're going to say, why is it an error? That's because these dates aren't meshing up with the days that programs are being offered. So you want to make sure that your date of program aligns with the days that you say you're serving. Again, over here, program end date. We said it was a Monday. Okay, that's fine. I'm working on a Monday, but I'm probably change it to the 6th there, because we'll go through that week. So just make sure that those, you know, align. And then it tells you there how many actual weeks of programming are being offered. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to put in the different hours of programming for each day. And you can see that we've already entered that information. 7:15 to 12:15 gives us 5 hours a day. But you know what's going to happen? Look, total number of weeks it's giving me. Total days per week of 4 does not meet the minimum of 5 days per week. Weekly hours of 20 does not meet the minimum of 25 hours. And that's because I took off Sunday, right? So, oh, okay, well, let's go back and let's add back in Friday. We'll end on the 7th then. Okay, hit save as we go, because you don't want to lose anything. Now I've got to come in. It still says I still don't have 25 hours, and that's because I have not put in the start and end date for that Friday. So I need to make sure. So that's what I was talking about. Like, there's lots of coding on the back end to make sure that you are filling out the application to the best of your ability and providing all of the information that you will be evaluated on. Okay, and then you can put what type of activities, and then what the primary focus for that and the activity type is there, so we can track the types of programs we're funding. All right, now if you have another activity, so say this was career readiness, so we're going to say career exploration, and we're going to save that, and then we want to add another activity that we're going to do, and that's going to be then we're going to do soccer explosion. We have career exploration and soccer explosion. And that's what we're going to do. And so then the primary focus of that one would be enrichment. And then it asks you based upon that, and you can go in and say athletics. Okay, and then hit save. Same with adding activity, you can add a site. If you're serving at more than one site, say you're serving at a couple different schools, then once you've completed this for one site, you're going to go in and do it for another site. And your program summary across your total number of sites, hours, etc., grade levels, all is populated down here in your program summary. So you can take a quick glance at that and see if you miss anything. And then you're going to hit submit, just as we did before. And then real quick, the last thing is your budget narrative. You are going to click here. We try to make it easier with you do not have to fill out anything that you're not asking funding for. So we're going to say, you know what, we're going to do contractual purchase services and equipment only. And that's what we're asking for our funds for. So we put $30,000, and you want to make sure you're describing here with budgeted amounts, because that's part of the rubric. And we want to see your breakdown and how, you know, how many contractors is this? What is the cost per contract? And then you can indicate here in the breakdown, you can add additional contractual purchase services as you go. But we've put our 30,000 there in contractual services and 55,000 in equipment, just so we can get the budget completed here for a sample for you. But if I said, you know what, I'm only going to do 25,000 in equipment, and I save that, guess what happens? It's going to tell me if I try to submit, your form was not submitted. 2 validation rules are not valid. And one of those is applicants with exception of those applying as a coordinating entity may not, which none of these are coordinating entities, that's standard language, may not subcontract more than 40% of grant funds. Okay, so that's a rule within the RFA. When you look through the full details, it tells you you cannot subcontract for more than 40%. So we're going to change this. Let's change that down to 10,000. And then the other part was total program budget does not match. Remember when I said it speaks across the pages, and we had previously said we were applying for 85, but the budget I tried to submit was for only 55,000. So it did not allow me to submit based upon that as well. So we're still going to keep our equipment at 25. We've got 10,000 here that we're going to update that for contractual services. And then we'll go in and we'll do the rest in salaries. So what do we have? 30,000, and we need 50,000 in our positions. I am not going to detail this like you would. Of course, you're not going to have one salary at 50,000, but for the sake of getting through this, I want to make sure that we have that. And it's going to ask you for, oh, I don't want to add a salary. Let me see. See, I hit add salary. I don't need another salary. So I'm going to, there's a little trash can there. I think this is pretty, you know, user friendly, but some of these things just help us to see how you're going to navigate through this process. And we're going to say benefits are in kind, right? So if you do salary, you do not have to do benefits, but it is going to pop up, and it's going to want you to indicate there your benefits. So I'm just going to put in kind. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the salaries there. And then we're going to hit submit again. But before we hit submit, I want to come down here real quick. Now our total program budget equals the 85,000. So we're good there. It says, please explain how grant expenses align with your program activities and youth development outcomes, right? So you're going to detail that there. And then the last question here is provide a detailed justification, the cost per hour and per student. Remember, I introduced that Wallace Foundation calculator, and that's where we share again here that you want to take a look at that and see what the average cost for a similar program. And it allows you to put in all the details, how many hours, how many students, etc., whether you're at a school or a community site, providing academic or enrichment or comprehensive services. And then it generates what the average cost for our region is. So that's a good resource there for you to justify your cost per student and hour. So once that's done, you're going to hit submit. Oh, it's still 2 required fields are left in red. Let's see here. Amount of grant funds. Oh, wants me to Again, this is in the past, we had folks that didn't get grants because they didn't answer all of the portions that they were supposed to, that the rubric requires you to score on. And if you just didn't respond or you didn't have it in the right place, you lost points and then maybe didn't get your grant. And so this really requires you, and I know it can be frustrating sometimes to be like, oh, I have to go back. What did I leave out? But the point is to really help you to make sure that you're filling out the application completely with all of the information. So let's see. Hit save there. That's no longer red. Let's go down here and submit one more time. All right, so now you can see the budget narrative is submitted. Then you just have to go in and sign off. And that's where you're going to put your name and you're going to submit. Your form was not submitted. Oh, well, anyway, your data has been saved. There we go. Indicates filled. It may be because I do not have the documents yet uploaded. So it's not letting me go ahead because I do not have, if we go back, remember to the organization profile, if we go back to your organization home, I have not entered my organization upload. So everything has to be in submitted status before you can then submit your grant. But that is a general overview of how you're going to fill out this grant application in CitySpan. All right, now I want to just hear what your questions are and we can do our best to answer them. I know that was a lot of information. Again, you have the RFA email address that you can send questions to as well. And go back, I'm going to stop sharing and I can see if anyone has any questions. I'll try to go through. Our team, is there any questions that you haven't been able to answer in the chat? Where can we see application questions before being able to open the narrative section? That's within the RFA document. Again, when you go onto our website and you are able to download the full RFA and you go down to the application section, it has all of the questions.
Shanna, there was a question from Christine earlier on the chat inquiring if a LOI, a letter of intent, would be acceptable. They are currently undergoing an audit process.
Unfortunately, no, not for the summer. We do allow letter of intents for the audit for the school year because it does take a while to get those in. We allow the letter of intent, but with the summer program being such a short period, you would need to have that complete. As long as it's complete by February 28th and you can have it, the audit attached, you would need to have that, unfortunately, for the summer. Marcus, did you have a question?
I did, but you just kind of answered it. It looks like someone, Jane Lee had said that it mentioned that the deadline was the 28th of January, but you just mentioned that it was February 28th. So that answers that question.
Yes, I'm sorry. Who adds it? Because if it says January 28th somewhere, please let me know so I can correct that. It should be February 28th. And my apologies if I misspoke.
The same individual, Shanna, Christine D, wanted to know about MOAs, MOUs, partner agreements, which probably can be uploaded in the organization uploads, correct?
No, we do not have a section for uploading MOAs. That's not a requirement of the summer program. So you can certainly reference that in your program design and description, but you do not have to upload any MOAs.
Ms. Sampson,
yes.
There's a question here. If you receive scholarship funds, do you qualify for this grant? Do you see that question?
Yeah, I did see it.
It's from Karen Harrison.
Karen, do you mean like, are you a recipient of a scholarship grant award from the OST office? Are you the administrator of our scholarship program? Or are you, please, I'm not sure what you mean by you receive scholarships.
Yes, the recipient from the scholarship program.
Are you the grantee? Are you with Greater Washington Foundation?
I'm with DC Wise 1.
Okay. Yes, you should be eligible. If you receive scholarships through our scholarship program, that would not prevent you from being eligible for this grant, but you do need to be a 501c3.
Yes, we are. Okay, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Hi, Shana. The same person said it does on the city span form.
On the
Says
city's-
January. Yes.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know that. I'll need to have them update that.
Yeah, I checked. Learn 24 says February. It does have the February date.
I'm not sure on this homepage it says February 28th, but if you can send us or put in the chat the link where you're seeing the January 28th, we'll certainly update that. Just to verify, as a new OST grantee, can you please verify eligibility for organizations already awarded OST funding this fiscal year? If you are a current grantee, unless you are MADC new grantees, you would apply in the same way because you did not have the option to be for summer programming. All of our grantees who were awarded in the beginning of the year in September had the option to offer year-round programming that includes summer. So they're not eligible to do summer programming. But if you are a brand new grantee who received MADC funding, you would be eligible in the same way. As a nonprofit offering school year programming. I hope that clarifies. You would just have to have the same documentation. And since you've already applied through MADC, a lot of this information will already be in there and make it a little easier for you. It would be towards summer versus school year.
Thank you. No, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Yes, of course. We certainly want our MADC grantees to be able to serve those newly served youth across the summer as well. Okay. Anything else that I missed? I'm trying to look through these questions here. It's kind of dense in this chat.
Yeah, Shannon, there is one from Danette from Faith from the City. Said about applying for a grant without a reviewer audit. The ceiling is $50K or $49,999.
That's correct. If you are requesting less than $50,000, an audit is not required or a financial review. It is only for organizations requesting over $50,000. So you can request up to $50,000 without having to meet that qualification. I cannot, Kevin, I'm sorry, I don't know yet because it's all pending pending DC City Council approval of our budget. Right now, we're hoping we lose a lot of ESSER or COVID relief funds this year. It's the last year of that. So we're needing to be made whole with the grant funding that we currently have to replace the loss of that ESSER funding before we have funding for even additional grants. We hope to be able to award additional organizations for school year and year round. This was our first year of a 3-year cycle. So we want to make all of our current grantees whole. If we receive additional funds, then we will open another RFA to award new grantees for the school year and year round. This is a mayoral initiative. She pushes out of school time, and her current focus is on universal access. That's what the latest grant cycle for My After School DC was around, clearing the wait list at some of our priority or schools that were identified as priority schools. She's wanting to to utilize the outcomes of that to demonstrate need to be able to do that across the district and clear the waiting list at all of our schools. But we're in a tough budget cycle this year, as is simply the case most years, but especially as we, not only our agency, but many agencies across the district prepare to lose those ESSER funds that we've been relying on since 2020. So I wish I could provide more information. That's being as transparent as I can in regards to what the status is, and we'll be hopeful that we can. And yeah, did we record this? Yes, I think we did. Thank you, Marcus. We will provide the recording online. We'll post it to the website so that folks can come back and check in on the recording if anyone missed it, or if you want to share it or watch it again. Again, the questions that I'm responding to will be responded to in a written manner as well, and posted to the Q&A website probably by close of the day. Anthony says, if we will serve K through 5 students in eligible wards, are there any other criteria required for the unduplicated students? For example, does a student in Ward 6 need to also be homeless, LGBT, or foster care? No. You're just going to tell us who you're serving. If you're serving youth in those in wards 4, 5, 6, or 7 or 8, those wards are priority wards. You're going to get those priority points. If those youth are also economically disadvantaged, say, roughly 50%, you can indicate that you're going to get those priority points. If you're not serving LGBTIQ plus, foster care, or homeless, you won't get priority points for that, right? Like we don't anticipate, it would be a red flag if an organization said they were highly serving youth in all of those targeted populations, because that's a pretty niche group of youth that would fall within all of those categories. You're going to demonstrate where you are meeting vulnerable populations and receive priority points for that sector. If there are any other questions, feel free to ask them now or send them through that RFA email. Yeah, thank you. Let me go in. I'm going to drop this email. Oh, thank you, Mark. He was a step ahead of me. I was trying to grab that. So you have it. That's where you want to go to send any emails. And again, our website, Funding Opportunities, is the page where all of the various links exist. Let's see if I can beat Mark in getting that one. Look, he's letting me win. Here we go. That's the page you're going to want to go to access all of the links we discussed today. We'll stay on another minute or so in case anyone has any questions. Otherwise, that's the conclusion of the presentation. We will post the video, the recording from today, to the link that we've just posted in the chat, the Funding Opportunities page, so you can go back and visit that. Otherwise, best of luck to you. We look forward to reviewing your applications and to working with you potentially this summer. Thank you. We'll call it a day at 2:55, or call it a meeting.